From Kansas City to New York City, from planet Earth to extraterrestrial life in space, a podcast with no equal, engaged in unconventional warfare through your speakers and headphones. This is a show about embracing the suck, conquering your demons, and finding God in the face of adversity. Chris Tonto Peranto.
Switch is on. Motherfucker, I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
Ian Scotto.
You know, Ian and I have been dating for a long time.
You are now tuned into the Battleline Podcast.
The switch is on, Battleline Podcast, and yeah, it's kind of crazy to say. First of all, this is not clickbait, because I know, for example, Sean Ryan put up an episode that was like, "This is our last episode." It was like the last episode in the studio. No, this is literally, it's not the last, but we're announcing the end to the podcast, that's just what's going on. Unlike a lot, I feel like when a lot of shows end when it's co-hosts, it ends on really bad terms. There's been like when Mike and the Mad Dog
Mike
split
and the
off,
Mad Dog. That's
they
a great
hated each
documentary,
other.
though. But that was a great documentary, dude.
Opie and Anthony.
Opie and
I
Anthony.
mean, that ended with Anthony getting fired, but those guys were not on good terms, and then Opie getting fired. But yeah, so it's not that. It's just it's a lot of different factors.
Well, I mean, I'll be quiet. I'm getting tired and busy, and there are times where I just want to be home. I'm at a point now where it really is. It's like I want to go teach every once in a while. I don't even want to go speak that much anymore, to be honest with you, and then be home and even the podcast. Now, not that it's a bad thing. It's just it's would be nice just to kind of disappear for a little while, and I'd like that. And you're on the other end where your other podcast is taken off and you know that's the focus for you and that's great. So it is when you have too many irons in the fire and I have had a lot of irons in the fire for many years, and now you're starting to see that because you've got your job. Your job, you got multiple things going. It's like, hey, a lot of irons in the fire. What is something that you know we've done? What is something that we can cut, and not in a bad way? It's just, hey, what can we cut down? And this is one of those things where, yeah, if we had just started it, it'd be different. But man, I didn't realize we'd gone 6 years and how many 300 some episodes. And it's just a point where you gotta, you know what? Let's take a permanent hiatus from it, and because that's good. And when both people agree with it, then obviously it's the right decision. So that's all, man. And I think there's people that hold on too long. And then it does go south. Then it does go to find where your friendships are ruined, or it just becomes it's not what it once was when it first started. And that's something that I think we've gotten better and better and better. And to be honest, I think we're at our best right now as far as guests and interviews and how it's going. But I always like the Barry Sanders analogy. You retire at the top of your game. You retire at your best, and then you don't do the Emmett Smith, which I love, and I met Emmett Smith. He actually came to down, great guy, but you don't on the down slide, and that's why I'm okay with this. Like, hey, you know what, we are, and having Jason Ellis, which was so fucking cool to have him on.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you actually one thing about the Jason Ellis, since you're bringing it up, was I said to you after that episode, I go, you know, what's the clip everyone's going to want to watch? It's going to be him talking Brendan Schaub. That is the clip that did the best. I knew it. I still have my finger on the pulse of like what the people want to hear.
And that's why you're awesome at it, at this. And with me, I like to speak every once in a while. It helps me therapeutically, but I really just like, it's weird. I've never thought I'd be like this. When somebody would have asked me this 10 years ago, you just want to sit on, and after I have been asked that, what are you going to do when you just want to be home and all the time? I'm like, that'll never happen. That'll never fucking happen. I don't want to be home. And now I am at a point where like, man, I just like being home. I just like going to watch my kid practice soccer. I like to be that. I'm a dad. Yeah. And that's okay. And when in this business, brother, too, where it all, we're out of the COVID era. You and I will, I don't say never be in studio, but it's not going to be that all. It is hard to compete with all the, because you do have to be in studio.
Yeah, I
There
think
is,
those are the best. I mean, like shout out
yeah.
to the Team House. I think they do it right.
Well, yeah, you do, and we don't. Not saying our content. I think our content's awesome. I
Yeah.
think we have
Oh, for
wonderful
sure.
guests, but you have to have the whole package. You can't just be 80% in anything media related or 90%. You got to go 110%.
And that's
And
also you not
yeah,
doing as much outside stuff,
that is
right?
true.
Because I
Yeah,
I could tell you, and it's funny because I called all the sponsors just to let them know here's what we're doing,
that's cool.
and I was saying to Phil Otto that I'm always looking at the YouTube stats, and I still will because there's still going to be plays on there, and we'll still get
Yeah.
some income from there. But you know, I saw there was a big boost in Terry Shepard all of a sudden, and I was like, why is there a big boost in Terry Shepard? And
Terry's
then
doing
you
some
go,
crazy stuff on X. He's making some funny shit on
well,
X.
it's not that though, because it's just I'll Google Terry Shepard, and I'm like, oh, he was on Gutfeld this week. And
Yeah,
it's like when you're regularly doing media, it kind of lifts all tides.
it does. And well, Sean Ryan episode is an obvious example for ours as well.
That too, yeah.
And and that's what's funny. If we probably would have started this when 13 hours come out,
Oh, it would have been big.
it would have been
I
it would
100% feel that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was always traveling. I was doing all sorts of media. I was everywhere. And it's just to a point where I think I just burnt out. And I did
Yeah.
burnt. I did. Which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing because you have to sacrifice. You can't have the family and be the stay-at-home dad and have that kind of career and press it out. And you have to make a choice. And I think you know that you've been in the business, I won't say show business, but it is
Yeah.
longer than I have. And it is a lot of it's just timing. It is. It's not even how
Yeah.
good you are, or it's just it's timing. How many bands? And I'm sure you that's be a good subject for your other podcast. How many
Yeah.
bands were amazing, but just missed the window of whatever genre that they would have excelled in because the hair metal days were done, and now it was
Well,
going to
we
grunge.
talked about it when Brit Lightning was on,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
like you jumped in when I said it, but like the way I meant it was when I said to Brit Lightning, all of those bands, Vixen, Poison, what I
yeah,
said, none of them were cool in the 90s. And I remember you jumped in, and you were like, they were cool, I still listen to them, but you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah,
All of
yeah.
those bands could have put out their best album ever in 1993, and no one
Yeah,
would give a shit. And
yeah.
that's just the truth, other than the diehards. So yeah, everything is timing, man.
It
Absolutely. I
is.
remember
It is.
actually it's funny, like I think back to episodes and when I had Frankie Palmieri on the show, I spoke about this when so Frank is the only member of Emura left in that band.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've been friends with him. I was a fan before I was ever a friend of him. I just love that band. But when all of the members left, they all left at the same time. They said, we don't want to deal with you, basically. And I was still friends with Frank. And I remember Frank calling me and he was like, man, like it's serious hiring. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life at this point. And then he really was like, I'm fighting for this name and I'm fighting for
Yeah.
my band. And he came back with an even stronger lineup. And the band's been going since. But I said to him on the show, like the other guys in the band, you haven't really heard much from. Now, at this point, one of them you have, one of them, the guitarist, is now in the Acacia strain. But I remember Frank saying on the show, yeah, lightning doesn't usually strike twice. And he was like,
Yeah.
I knew that I had something with this. And yeah, that's the thing, man. Everything is timing. With that band,
It is.
like to see a band that heavy do as well as they did when we had Corey Taylor on the show, who would
Yeah.
ever think a band that crazy and heavy would have a #1 Billboard charting album? It's unheard of.
Yep.
But the right place, right time, right band.
It is. If they would have come out in the 80s, it wouldn't have done anything. They'd been like, what the hell is this?
What the hell is that?
They're
Yeah.
like, what is this? But that is the beauty. But that's the also why I think that's also why I enjoyed it and why we did well. And I do believe we did well. And I do believe I still love everything that all the people that we talked, Corey Taylor. I do love, oh man, I still Brit Lightning was all, of course, talking to Brit Lightning. And then my favorite was my World War II vet, my
Oh yeah.
ballast
Vincent Speranza, yeah.
Vincent, yeah. And getting I will still always remember, and every time I see an old K-pot, the old helmets, I'm gonna remember them pissing and shitting in it and then drinking beer out of it. Because I mean, what kind of story? Where do you hear that story?
Insane.
And that's always going to be a pleasure and a treasure for me. And I know when I'm 80, if these things, hopefully they keep, the podcasts, they stay in
They'll
stay
be
in the
there,
ether
yeah.
forever. I know it's going to be like an old baseball card. I'm going to be able to listen to it and be like, man, that was some cool shit. It's just like I do now when I reminisce about 10 years ago. It's like, wow, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And
And as I said, like whenever any of our guests do something big, it'll be a boost in plays. That's just the way it works.
and that's to me, that's amazing. That's all.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But the timing is, and also here, with me, the range, the Battleline Tactical brand is still, honestly, it's still doing extremely well, and our range is growing and out here. So I do want to focus more on, because it keeps me home, first of all, because it's only half mile down the road. But I'm going out and shooting. Like I have a private course tomorrow, which it'll be already be done by the time you guys hear this. But that is something where we've got shoot houses now. We've got lanes where last course we just ran through the woods. I'm teaching people how to do movement to contact through the woods, and that is something where it does take a lot of focus to be on, because you have to be ready to train out there. You have to have dates that people can come train. And if I'm tired and just want to be home all the time, I'm not going to do that. I just wish I wish I had the energy to focus on 8 million things like I used to. And now it's the point where I've got to, this is my one thing. And it's just age and it's just energy. And
Of
this
course.
is the focus where it needs to be. And but yeah, I loved everything that we've done, and
Yeah.
you and I always be friends. You and
For
I
sure,
always
man.
be friends, dude. We've been friends long before we even started this. And
Yeah.
and
Really, when the
I'll
book came out, man.
yeah. And then when you come and see Jimmy, you gotta let me know, because I'll
Yeah.
come. I mean, hopefully I'm in the state. I'll come and say hi and see y'all. Good. Yeah, Ian's still gonna be out there all over the ether. Me, if I am, it's just because somebody reposted something. It ain't gonna be
Well, you're
because I'm
still
out
on
there.
social media though, and I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not on any social media. I mean, unless you consider YouTube social media.
I
So
don't know. That's your genre, dude. I don't know.
yeah,
Is
but I
YouTube
don't have
social media?
Instagram. I don't have any of that. So
Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna put it? Do you need to?
nah, I'm not a fan of it. You really don't. I mean, like, look with my YouTube, man. I have a video that I did about Judas Priest and Alice Cooper. Currently at 61,000 views. I don't have an Instagram. I don't have a Twitter.
Maybe you're showing that's best not to. Maybe that's the thing.
Everybody feels the need that you have to be on everything, and it's really not necessary. I mean, if you want to, but the people, I've said this before about this podcast, the people who like short form content, like 30-second clips, are not the people who watch the podcast.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
people who watch the podcast are not the people on Instagram just doom
Sure,
scrolling.
sure.
It's such a different genre of people. The people seeing, and I'm pointing to a TV, which you can't see off screen, but the people, that's why I'm in my head, but the people watching Terry Shepard on Gutfeld, they want to hear more from Terry. So they're going to come here. They're going to be like, oh, I saw he made some really funny, because he's a
And
funny
that was,
guy.
I knew it. And that was
Probably
a
made
great
some-
episode. That was
Yeah,
freaking an awesome episode. The naked SF guy, man. That was
Yeah.
and Terry's a great guy. Terry
I
is
love
just
Terry, man.
a wonderful.
I've known Terry longer than you. I've known Terry a long,
you
long
have.
time.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't. It was you
Through
that
Wilcow.
introduced, or was it Wilcow that somebody introduced us through? Was it you, or was it Mike? Maybe it was Ben's? It was somebody through.
I feel like I know everybody through Wilcow.
Yeah,
Wilcow's changed my life like a lot, really. And I haven't
Well,
spoken to him in ages, other than a text here or there. But like, yeah, I've met a lot of people because of him.
he's cool. You know what? With
I met.
Andrew,
I mean, I'll be honest. It would be a whole nother subject. But like, I met Charlie Kirk as a Wilcow.
Yeah.
When Charlie Kirk was on Wilcow when he was like 18. It's wild. Yeah.
young. I never, Oz knew Charlie. I never knew Charlie. I never knew
Yeah.
anything, and that wasn't. I never got in after I got out of all the being on the TV. I
Yeah.
never really followed the political, what do you call it, political fundraising thing, like
Sure.
Turning Point. Not that I had nothing negative to say. I didn't know.
No, I got you.
Oz knew him. Oz knew him because that's when Oz was traveling 2016. Oz was traveling around with the Trumps, was doing a lot of stuff, a lot of political activity to try to get Trump elected in 2016. And I just saw Oz last week. I was to bring
Oh,
that
wow.
story
Oh, yeah,
up.
'cause at
the Nashville thing for
Yeah.
the Charlie Daniels. The Charlie Daniels has a fundraising, has a nonprofit, a foundation, and myself, Oz, and Tig were at it, which was awesome. It was fantastic. But
That is cool.
damn, they auctioned a gun. I couldn't believe it. They auctioned a gun that Oz, myself, Tig, Cheryl, and Greg Doherty was there too, which is awesome to see. Greg, I love Greg, man. Greg and Bub are completely different. That's what's Greg and anyway.
And that's his
hilarious.
brother, or is
yeah,
that?
Greg Doherty. It's his brother. It's his
Okay.
brother. But he's just the nicest, coolest cat in the world. But we signed the gun, and they were doing an auction. That was to raise money. It's a foundation. They raise money, and they do a lot of great things for veterans. It auctioned for $400,000. Me and Oz was just sitting there
And
going,
does that go to charity? And
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
great,
yeah,
man.
yeah. No, it goes, and Charlie Daniels' foundation,
Which I think is why people like they probably normally wouldn't pay 400K, but
no,
they're
no,
like,
man.
it's a good cause, right? So
And that's Charlie Daniels' manager, David. He does quarterly. David is the one that still manages it because Charlie passed. And I remember when we first did it, that's when Charlie Daniels was still alive. Actually, there's a old picture somewhere out there of me and Oz and Charlie Daniels, great guy.
wasn't Charlie's last tweet Benghazi ain't going
Yeah,
away?
it
Which
was
is
close to.
crazy. I
He
thought
was
it
a
was last tweet.
It
I
might have
think.
been. It might have been. He was a huge supporter, and he always was a supporter of us. And Charlie's a good old boy. You meet him, he ain't any different. At least I didn't know him when he was young, Charlie Daniels, but I
Of
couldn't
course.
imagine being any different than what he was when we met him. Just a good old boy with some red man in his mouth, dipping. And but it was a good experience. But what I was getting at is because that's the day it happened. That's when.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because
Or
you
was it the day
texted.
prior?
No, it was 9/11.
No,
9/10.
9/10.
9/10. Because you text me, and then Tig came
Yeah.
up to me as I'm walking into the Hyatt there in Nashville, and he goes, "Hey, did you know Charlie Kirk got assassinated?" And then you text me, and that's
Yeah.
why I was like,
And for a while, people were saying, "Oh, he was shot." But if and I wish I didn't watch the video because it's horrible, man. But if you watch the way he was shot, you
no,
said, I mean, even as a layman, you go, no one's coming back from that.
no, he was a 30. That's a big ass 30-06. It's a huge round, and that's carotid, dude. It's gone. It's you're that you believe that's it. You're done. And yeah, that's pretty brutal. For those that whether you've seen it or not, or you've experienced stuff like that or not, it's still it's a terrible way to. It's a terrible thing to watch.
Yeah.
Um,
I would
but
suggest you don't watch it, but I'm sure
no.
by now everyone has chosen to or not to.
Well, and that's but guys, for just to let you know if that any that he I'm sure, and I'm 100%, he never felt the thing. He was,
Yeah.
and that is which whether you look, I see that as a good thing. I said he didn't suffer. He's gone to heaven. He's and that, but I feel for his family, of course, his wife and young children, but. Yeah, so prayers to him, of course. Even though I didn't know him, Oz did. But Oz had a funny story. He's like, yeah, we were driving, and I was with Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. And Donald Trump Jr. was having me vet this guy. I was like, yeah, he's just skinny kid, and Donald was like, hey, make sure this guy's on the level, is actually a supporter and can
Yeah.
help us. And so we were kind of joking about that. Just as we do, military guys do. We're trying to make light of the situation of a horrible, horrible
Yeah.
situation. But the night on 9/11/2012 was outstanding, and then I had to go and
You
came
mean
home
the night of 9/11/2025
What I say? Shit.
of
What was that?
2012?
Well, for me, I still
Commemorating it.
I
I know
love
what
it.
you
I
mean.
love it. But I did love 9/11/2012 too. I would go back there in a heartbeat. But the venue was nice. It was wonderful. And then I came home, taught a course, which was wonderful. I Battleline, the private course for Joel Nadler and his team, and that was a great experience. And then I had to go to Kansas City and speak for DH Pace. They do a lot of fulfillment for doors. I did know a huge door company, and it was a wonderful time up there speaking and then going to dinner and doing the event. And now I'm here, and then I got to teach tomorrow, and then I got to head out to Savannah to speak again, then LA, and then back
And
to
then we do
Ocean
our
City,
final
Mon-
episode.
And then we'll do it Monday. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do it Monday before I have to go catch a plane. That's right.
Yeah. So I'll tell you guys, the reason for me really stepping away because it was both of us. If anybody's listening,
Yeah.
it's not like, we kind of mutually just decided on this. But what happened for me really was like I've always had for a long time now. I've had a few different things that I've had as sources of income that I've combined to basically not work a full-time job, which to me is like the dream thing. And I don't want to go into the specifics of this, but like one of them, I basically would say I was starting to get phased out due to AI. And I am not, and you guys know this if you listen to enough episodes, I am not one of these people who thinks AI is going to make our life easier.
No,
And
not
I
at all.
also don't think AI is like the future. In the future, we're going to become obsolete. I'm currently living it. we are becoming obsolete right now because stuff I was writing, they were choosing to have AI write the pieces that were taking me hours to write. And even voiceover stuff is starting to get phased out because you could just have AI voice different things, as opposed to paying a voice actor. So that was one source of income that was like knocked out for me, which was the main thing. And it was starting to go down, I should say. And at that point, I said, I'm not even going to do this anymore. Um, that company was also working on things for Battleline behind the scenes, and then they just kind of stopped at a certain point. And like, there was not a lot of communication there because I was like, can you keep a good amount of revenue coming into this?
Yeah.
And there was just very little communication from this person. So at that point, it was like, let's take it over for ourselves and not have anyone else involved in the podcast. Uh, then, we lost Ned as a sponsor. That kind of screwed with the revenue coming into the show itself. And then just like a lot of the plays on all platforms started flatlining. And at the same time that the plays started flatlining on a lot of stuff, I saw Ian Scott Rocks really start to take off. So it was like I got to prioritize because at that point I decided I'm gonna have to get a regular 9 to 5 job at this point because I can't just do all these things I'm doing because there's not enough voiceover work,
Yeah.
there's not enough
Yeah.
writing work. So I've said it on the show. I'm now working for a funding company here on Long Island, which is like very good money. But that's not my passion. So doing that, I said, you just can't do it all. So I said, I've either got to knock out Battleline or I've got to knock out Ian Scott Rocks. And one of the big differences too is with Ian Scott Rocks, it's just me. I don't have to
Yeah.
schedule anyone. I can just do it on weekends. I'm not going to do it on the weekdays because I just don't have as much energy, man.
How
Like
people
I have
realize
my
how
weekends.
logistically hard it is for a show like this to get when you have guests. How do people realize that it's
Well, it's
for
that, and then
for
also
you, it's hard. It's
yeah,
hard.
but then every weekend I timestamp the whole
Yeah.
show. Like I tell Harold, let's make this a clip, let's make this a clip, let's make this, so I listen to everything back in real time. I'm very, so this takes me a long time. And so does Ian Scott Rocks, but I was like, I got to do one or the other.
Yeah.
And truthfully, that's the one I chose. I'm not going to bullshit you guys. That's just honestly what I chose. And one thing I thought about that's kind of interesting, that kind of came to my mind was over the years, you can see the award there when I worked on Bill Bradley's show. One of the people we interviewed for favorite places was Ariana Huffington from Huffington Post. And whether you're a fan of her politics or not, which most of you probably aren't, I mean, incredibly successful woman starting the Huffington Post really from nothing and starting, one of the to consider like one of the greater liberal news outlets. And I remember when we had her on, she was saying that she had a list of things she wanted to accomplish, like kind of a bucket list. And this is a woman who's accomplished everything. I mean, she really has. And one of the things she wanted to accomplish was becoming an expert skier. And the thing that she said was empowering for her, and I get it now, and I've gotten it, well, she crossed it off her list saying, you know what, like I genuinely just don't have the time for this. And like I have to prioritize other things. And she was like, rather than have this dream that's not going to happen on the list, I'd rather focus my energy on the things that I know I'll be able to accomplish. And that's just how I feel with this. Like I'm not gonna put half energy into a million different things. I'm gonna put my energy into Ian Scott Rocks, my job, of course, and whatever else comes my way. But and I'm not even really doing any voiceover work right now. So it's and a lot of it does come down to money. Look, if this podcast is bringing in a certain amount of revenue, yeah, we'd both continue. Absolutely. If we were making like very good money, yeah. If we were making like what the Team
I
House
would do
was,
I
we
would do
would.
it I would do it
Yeah.
but that's the thing is I would do it begrudge not be it would be kind of begrudgingly just because I'm tired, man. I am.
Yeah, but
I'm
if I'm
tired.
saying if you were able to knock out other things out of your schedule because this would be
Man,
making enough, and then you don't have to do as many speaking engagements, but that's not the case. We're just not bringing in enough revenue. Like, and I'm not going to bullshit you guys to say like this is a mega successful podcast. Like we did good, man. We're on a for like a smaller podcast, but we never reached like what the
nah.
Team House is doing. And I would have loved to have. Like to me, I'm very competitive with this stuff. Like anything I want, my name's attached to, I want to be great. That's why I walked away from a lot of these podcasts that were utilizing AI because I was like, I don't want my name on this.
Yeah.
And so, with the new show I'm doing now on YouTube, like I'm putting my all into it. And I'm doing videos that are doing like very good views, and I like doing it. And it actually takes me back to like when I first started in radio. The first thing I did in radio was the aggressive edge on WRHU, just spinning metal, and interviewing guys in metal. And from like 10 to 1 a.m., I think. I don't remember, this is so long ago. We're talking like 2006, 2007 here. So it kind of takes me back to my passion way before I was involved in special operations, military interviews, way before I was involved in anything political. I didn't care about politics at that time. And this is kind of taking me back to my roots. And I'm enjoying doing it. So, like, I'll still have a presence there, just like you'll still have a presence with the stuff you're doing. And these shows are not going anywhere. They'll always be available to listen to. So,
No, it's great. No, it is. I'm cool with. I've always been. I'm cool with whatever.
yeah,
Everything now in life for me is gravy. The accomplishments, the things I wanted to do, the things I dreamt of growing up, and then seeing the places I've been able to see, and it's why I have no issue with it. And it does come down to what else? What else? Is there anything else I want to? I don't. If it does, but
you
nothing
should
on the
always have
bucket
something
list.
to accomplish, though.
No,
I feel like at that
I
point, people, kind of,
but that's the accomplishment is I don't have anything on the outside. What I want to accomplish is I want to be home. I want to
yeah,
accomplish and be there every day for my kids. I want to sit and like I do every day and sit on my rocking chair. And if my son wants to go play with his friends, that's what I want to do. The professional drive that I used to have is not there. The personal drive to be at home and be a father, that is there now. And that's cool because I always wanted to
yeah,
be there because I knew I wasn't going to be ready until I was ready. And that's why I kept continuing to leave. That's why it wasn't hard to leave and deploy. I mean, yeah, there comes a point where you have to figure out how to do it. It's always difficult to say bye and not know if you're coming back, but I was able to because like I still want to do this. I still want to go overseas. I still want to sneak around cities. I still want to see these places. I still want to go to the Mediterranean and see a burnt out tank and drink a Mai Tai right there. I mean, that's like, and now it's like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good sitting out on my porch and listening. Like I even post it all the time, and I'm not doing it to get likes. I'm completely honest, with you guys. I love sitting out there, even like on that Connex box in the morning, waiting for training to go, and it's quiet, and all I can hear is the cows in the distance and the doves cooing. If you ever hear doves, they're freaking, it's awesome. They're so therapeutic, and just the breeze in me, and I'm like, man, this is awesome, and that's where I want to be, and you have to, but in this line of this, whether it's this or anything within a social media realm, you have to be able to be there all the time. And I'm not. And I know that because when I
I don't
was there all the
I don't
time,
know if I
and I
agree that you
was.
have to be there all. I think you just have to be on when you do it. I'm not, on all the time, but I think whenever I'm working on something, whenever we do the show, it doesn't matter what mood I'm in, I'm going to be on and do a
I
good
mean,
job. But
but I have
you
to
don't,
promote. I
I
have
don't
to
buy
promote.
that. I don't buy
Well,
that you have to be on all the time.
when you have kids, maybe you'll think differently. I'm being
Yeah,
honest
I'm
with
not
you.
having kids.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
different. And that you don't know until you know, and I didn't know until I knew, and then actually started to become part of their life. And so that's why I say all I'm saying is nothing to take away from anything else. We're just at different
Yeah.
points in our life,
But I
and
just mean to have like a successful YouTube or a successful podcast, you don't have to be one of these influencers posting all the time. It's not, I don't agree with that. I mean, there's people on YouTube who are doing like millions of views and they just do a video like every 2 weeks and,
I
but
and
they're
I
good. They're good videos though.
I don't watch any of them.
Yeah. But you know what I
I'm
mean?
my wife.
You could be successful without being like attached to your phone. You
But
definitely
is
can.
but what do we deem success as? And
If you're doing well financially with what you're passionate about.
and I'm doing well financially
Yeah.
regardless. But
No, no,
that's
I'm not talking about you. I'm saying you don't have to be on all the time, is my point, to have a successful career in media, podcasting. Like there are those people, like there's Will Cow, right, who does a radio show, TV show, but you don't have to be that guy or what Charlie Kirk did. There's people on YouTube, like I said, who like every couple weeks they just post something that they're very passionate about and they do well.
and I don't know. I just that whole realm, that whole genre to me is honestly dead to me. It
Yeah.
really is. It is.
But
And that's,
you're on social media.
I post positive stuff every once in a while. I really
Yeah.
wish I wasn't on there to be honest.
I'm
But
not.
you know, but you're on YouTube and you do your
Yeah.
shows
But that's it. I'm on YouTube.
and but that's the thing is that's it's a double-edged sword. It is. There is, but there is getting a point now that things are slowly phasing out for me that it's eventually going to go. And I
Yeah.
think that you can't just I did cold turkey. You can't just cold turkey it till you've got billions of dollars in the bank or you have something else set aside. And I don't. So I have to slowly just start weeding things out where I am going to be at home. Now I'll never stop the training because I'm low and it's easy. But the social media and yeah, it slowly it's going to continue to get phased, and that's cool because I don't want to be a 70-year-old dude trying
Yeah.
to post shit on social media, and you know when that would be when you'll be about 50 about that point. When I'm 70, you'll be probably what
No, no,
55,
no. 55. Yeah. Something like
55.
that.
Yeah, and that's we'll have this conversation then and be like, you know what, and we're like, you know what, we both were right, and that's the thing is you just never know the timing and the points in lives and things that people want to do. It has to link up, and with us, it did
Oh
for.
yeah.
But then I kind of but then I kind of I went kind of I mean you know what Ian and Ian can tell you this is like yeah kind of I'm done with this. I'm out.
No,
And
I
Ian's like
think both of us, there were times where like you were more into it, and there's times where I was more into it, and that's life, you know? I mean,
yeah
even if you look at Opie and Anthony, Mike and the Mad Dog, there were times that one or the other guy was more into the show than the other. And that just happens.
yeah it is. And now but that's the one. I'm glad his Ian's thing took off because if you didn't, I would have felt guilty as shit.
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
know.
no.
I
I would
would have.
find another outlet, man.
I
I like I don't like social media at all. I'm not on it. I like YouTube. I really like, and I like podcasting. So like to me, I like long form, longer form. I don't want to say long form because like YouTube, those videos are like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but like that's the content I like. I have no interest in posting a selfie of myself or like I don't care about that at all. Not my thing. Not into arguing with people on X. You know, not my thing. I'm not on any of those. So I just, you know, I do I'm a content creator, but I do not think you need to be on all the other stuff. It's not necessary.
yeah.
Unless, you know, and truthfully, YouTube pays way more. Like you have to be making like crazy amounts of content to get paid on Facebook or YouTube or I'm sorry, or X or
Actually,
Instagram. YouTube, you can make a good living. You know, it's and the algorithm like points people in your direction.
man, that's
It's my
that's
favorite of all the stuff. Hey guys, hope you are enjoying this farewell pre-farewell
free for
episode of Battleline Podcast. We take a trip down memory lane here. Every show is sponsored by Fort Scott Munitions. We love Fort Scott Munitions.
Yep.
I'm not going to do the traditional read. I'm just going to say thank you so much for all of the support you guys have given us. It would not have become what it was, and for how long we did this without
Yeah,
Fort Scott
that would
Munitions. And definitely be sure to support them.
definitely, guys. And I will continue to use and train with Fort Scott Munitions, continue to work with them with Battleline Tactical. But yeah, we wouldn't have made it 6 years without it. And that's a lot. So thank you to the crafts. Thank you to Robbie Forrest over there in Preston Church, Steve Calm, Jordan Nelson, you're over there too. And then my buddy Jacob Duffy, who's into anime like I am, man. He actually I think he's over in Japan buying those crazy
Nice.
figures. Yeah, he's big into Comic Con and all. Thank you guys. And but I said I'm not leaving y'all. I'm that's one thing of the beauty. They may not be on the podcast, but I still will be using them out when all our battle line tactical training, and I still get associate with them. But thank you guys, because if we didn't have you, yeah, we wouldn't have made it 6 years at all. So God bless you guys, Fort Scott Munitions, and thank you for your tremendous support. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
And as far as I know, the promo code still works. So FSM.com, promo code Battleline for a great discount for listeners of the show. FSM.com, promo code Battleline.
That is the weird, yeah, never as a dad. And maybe that's another thing too, is I just being sitting there and doing content and making a good living to me is, and when you're learn to like, hey, no, you make a good living by going and getting your hands dirty. It's still weird to me. It still is extremely weird to me that people, this is a job. This it's like, man, I remember my dad grew and my grandpa grew up. We go out there and we dig ditches. That's how you make a living. You work your ass. And I think that's why I like the training because I'm
Yeah.
still, even though I can't do half the shit I used to because I'm so broke. It's like I feel after a day that I come home from training, I can't move because we've
Yeah.
done. But that to me, that's a day's work, and maybe that's why the Rangers and being in the military and do all that was so awesome is because you felt like after the end of the day, it's like I just want to lay down on the field of battle and just sleep, and that's to me that's always been a day's work. This has never been work per se. This has been fun, and I guess work should be fun too. I'm speaking in circles, but I don't know. I don't know. It's where life's at, and people making money on YouTube and do. It's still weird to me, dude. It's still extremely like, how can what's how can this be work? How can it
I mean,
be?
it's no different to me than creating a movie that people like want to watch, creating a
Eh,
documentary people want to watch, creating music. Like, it's capitalism.
yeah, it is, and more power. That's the beauty of this country.
Yeah.
Hey, more power to them. But yeah, no, and you are good. This is you got the first time I met you, dude. I heard your voice like this motherfucker's got he got to be on radio, man. This guy's got
Yeah.
to because you have that
Thanks.
and you have that, and so I am just blessed that just like the vodka, even though the vodka's never taken off, it does all right. It's still cool to be like, and I do. I'm 5 years from now, I'm gonna be like, man, that was freaking awesome. That we had
All
some
this
great
stuff.
shit.
Yeah. It's all
That
great
man.
experiences, man. Like, and even with the show, there's people we both wanted to have on that we booked that in no way we were like, this is going to blow up. We were just like, we want to
We
talk to
want to
this
talk to
guy.
this guy.
The
Yeah.
Calvary Christian Center. There's no way I was like, this is going to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
huge. No, I just thought it would be an interesting show.
And
it
that was cool. Yeah, it
And,
was.
like,
Yeah.
it was always a balance. Like, John Doe mine, I want to talk to him and it will blow up. But generally speaking, also, we only want to have people on that we liked and were interesting. Like if someone was pitched to me where it was this could get a ton of views, but I have no interest in talking to this person, I'm not going to do it. I really I don't want to have people, especially, and I always said like I don't want to talk to politicians. I don't want to be propaganda for someone's campaign. Never, and we never did any of that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad. I mean, like I didn't want to help get anyone elected. I really don't. I don't care about any of that. And so I was glad like not to have. I don't know, not to play part in that because you even see it now. Like there's people who did all this like podcasts were all MAGA, right? The whole thing, and now people what? Why'd you tell me to vote for this guy? 'Cause, like this happened, I don't. I'm not responsible for what you do. Like I just wanted to entertain and inform people, and maybe make some people smile or because I do think about the people who have reached out to us. And for 6 years, man, there have been people who have reached out who were injured at a time and they're stuck in the hospital with nothing but an iPhone and, didn't want to watch TV and they could turn on the podcast and bang out a bunch of episodes and make that time go by quicker. People who listen to various guests we've had on who were at a really dark place in their life and came out on the other side and inspired people to go on. There's people who like wanted to accomplish a new goal in life because of who we've had on the show. So like I'm really grateful to all of you guys who listened, anyone we've ever had on the show, especially the people who were really candid. And then especially the sponsors, even the sponsors who aren't still there. Like I said it because I did put up a post like those original guys at Ned, even though Ned hasn't been a sponsor for a while, like the guys who started the company, like Rhett and Adrian and Christian.
Red's a good dude. Red was a solid dude.
They took a chance on us, and Sean Lake took a chance on us, and I really appreciate and Fort Scott, of course, and the guys at Photonus, and even the people who just sponsored a show here and there, Paymax Tactical, and I know I'm for Hero Soap Company, but like all of you guys who ever got involved in any way with making this thing happen, I'm forever grateful. Like, and as you said about it not being a job, I mean, the fact that we were able to do this, and although we didn't make it a huge amount of income, the fact that like we were able to get paid doing this is
Yeah.
truly a blessing, and it's because of all of you. So I want to make it clear, I'm so appreciative for that.
Definitely am, and love all one thing in this. Some of those sponsors I'll still be with. Some of these
Yeah.
like Fort Scott and Photonis and Bubs. Not that, and whether it's paid or not, I don't give a crap about that. It's that I still will be on the range, and they still will be. They're so awesome. Bubs does the same thing. Fort Scott, I use their ammo, and so it'll always be there. And same with Photonis, we still do night vision courses together. So
Yeah.
that's
Even though Phil said they're going to look for it. Phil's like, you think you could hook me up with the Team House guys? You think they'd be interested? I'm like, dude, of course they'd
Of course
be
they'll be interested. Hell yeah, man. No, we'll still be training because there's that side, and then Phil and I have the training side, and Sean, he digs that too, that tie-in because we can get out there and train. So maybe that's why it's a little easier for me too, because I'm really not losing the podcast, everybody from it. A lot of them they're just Battleline is a company. They got podcasts and we got tactical. That the podcast may be going away, but the tactical's still there. So a lot of these guys are still going to be around, and I'll still be dealing with them on a day-to-day basis, just in the tactical world and not on the podcast world. So, man,
Yeah.
that's why I guess I never really like this is going away. I was like, man, I don't know if it really is. It's just going on hiatus, maybe permanent hiatus, but it's still there because I still have a relationship with some of our sponsors, and I probably always will
Yeah.
until I break and have my other hip replaced and I can't do shit. But yeah, but it's been awesome. No, it has been. And I don't think people realize the first couple weeks Ian and I didn't see eye to eye on a couple. It was when I was in Grand Junction, I remember.
Yeah.
And
We
I
got
don't
into
even
an
remember
argument.
I don't remember
I
what we
do.
fought about. It was something, but it almost imploded
I can
right
even, I
there.
remember. I have a good
You
memory.
remember?
Anything like with the podcast? Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah, tell me because I don't.
Should I? I mean, like, I don't think it's
I know.
throwing anyone under the bus, but I will tell I have no problem. It was that guy John Castle. He had a post with the shirt, with the Battleline Podcast shirt, and you were like,
Oh.
you got to repost this. But the post was also all about like mail-in ballots and all this, and I was like, dude, I don't want the show to be political.
Was that
And
Saint
you were-
Nick? Was that Saint
Yeah,
Nick?
yeah.
That
Because
shit.
I don't think he's on social media anymore, but he
No,
was
he
super
still works,
political.
He still works at the agency, dude. He's back
Okay.
with the agency.
Well, am I
don't-
saying anything out of turn?
No,
I mean, like, but he was
no.
super political about and super right wing. And for me, I've always felt like I don't want the show to be like this over the top right wing thing.
I don't remember.
And I just remember you being like, but it's just him in the shirt. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to. I don't want to draw attention to like. I don't need this controversy with like because I want liberal guests on the show. I've always felt that way. And yeah, it was that. And then like I don't know. I think you thought I was like a covert liberal or something because of this, and I was just like, nah, I don't really want this. But after like a week, we got over it. It's
Yeah, it
fucking
was-
stupid. I mean, this is
I-
a long time ago, and you know what? It was also at the height of COVID, so I think everybody was kind of like on edge. I think that's part of it too.
Man, I cannot. I remember us getting art, but I don't remember that reason. I swear to
Yeah.
I'm getting old, dude. I'm getting so old. And it might have been because Nick and I are actually really, really good because he was a GRS guy.
Yeah.
We're really good friends.
He's a good dude, but I will say he's one of these people, right? And I don't think he's on social media anymore.
I don't know.
But
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of people who have been on the show, right? Who post a lot of unfounded stuff. I'm not talking about like I don't agree with it, but like I think it was him, so don't quote me. But like posting the Epstein list, and it's like, dude, there is no official list, man. These are just a bunch of random
I know.
celebrities people threw out there. Like, stop posting this as news, you know? And so stuff like that, like it's just like. Anything, and I'm very big on that. Anything I talk about it, whether it's news or like, I want to be as accurate as possible.
And that's what it
important
was.
to me.
That's what it was. Was that
Yeah,
what
it was that he posted something in the shirt, but then on the post, it was like, it was all about the mail-in ballot problem, and I was like, I don't want to talk about this.
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking and getting off the phone, or it was a text or something. I was like, "Fuck this, I'm done."
Yeah. I think I was the same way.
I remember I was at home I was at home visiting my parents too at the time.
Yeah.
And Tanny was there, and yeah, I do remember. But that was only maybe a month or two in. It wasn't that long.
Yeah.
In.
I mean, dude, I get it. I can get under people's skin for whatever reason. I'm not, no, just being like, I'm also just, and I remember even, Jeremy saying it, and it's true. Like I'm a very like no one could say I'm not a genuine person. Like I will give my real thoughts on something, and I don't know. Like my authenticity is way more important to me than like pleasing other people. I don't give a shit if everybody likes me. I never have. I never like. So if I piss someone off because I said something they don't like, whether it's you, whether it's someone I like or don't like, I just
Well,
I'm always going to be authentic, and that's
that's
just to a fault, probably. You know?
well, that's why it's amazing that we lasted so long because I don't give a shit either. But the
Yeah,
one thing is both of us do though is we do pause, and that's what I like is that if you say we don't agree, we don't just except for that one time, except for
yeah,
when we fought, which again I still can't remember. I know that's what, but I can't remember. I wish I could remember more of it. But it's always you might have something there. Or maybe, hey, like you just did, hey, I don't agree with you. Well, I don't fucking agree with you. Well, let's just agree to disagree.
yeah,
But it's never it is. I'll do that with you quite often where you'll say something that may be opposite of what I'm saying, and that's just me too. I may say what, fuck you guys what you think of me.
yeah.
But I also am gonna go, you know what? Let me think about that. That makes a little bit of sense. That's called common sense. That's actually just called common sense. And you have the same thing.
Nice.
Well, you do, and that's why you and I get along. Even though we are both, hey man, I don't give a fuck what you think about me. You don't give it
Yeah.
either. But it's also, you know what? You might have something there. I don't agree with you yet, but let me get back to you on it. And that's how I've always been. And
It's
that's how
also
people.
like that's why, and this didn't happen with us, but like that's why all of these shows with like two hosts that we just spoke about split up because and it's not really natural like for two guys to be giving their opinion on every topic that comes up. So
Yeah.
like after a while, it's natural that like Opie and Anthony got along for all those years, and then Anthony started getting very right wing, and that didn't fly with Opie, and like it got under his skin, and he was just like, I'm tired of this guy ranting about politics every day, and that's part of why it didn't work because, yeah, man, like especially for guys who do a show every single day, it's like a marriage
Yeah,
at a certain
yeah,
point,
yeah.
and you're spending more time with that person than your wife. And you're arguing about I remember when I did Wilcow every single day. Mike Vince is the funniest guy and like
He is.
very easy guy to
Mike
get
is
along with.
hilarious.
But there
Mike's
would
a
be
great
one
guy.
thing he would do that would piss me off, or I would do something to piss, and then
Okay.
and then for a few days we wouldn't talk to each other. And then after a couple days, it's completely normal. If you're in a green room with one person, you can't really ignore them. Or
Yeah.
not agreeing with the control room.
The control room, and
It's not like
that's a
it's not
tight
like a
space.
job where you're working with 10 people and you're like, all right, I'm just not going to talk to this guy for a few days. Like you're communicating with this one person. So yeah, it's natural that you're going to say something that's going to tick someone off.
That is so. Mike is the nicest guy. What an
Oh,
asshole
yeah.
you are. How can you be such an asshole? Fight with Ben.
He's the funniest guy.
I know.
One thing about Mike that's really true, anyone who listens to Wilcow, I genuinely will tell you, Mike does not get enough credit because
Yeah.
there are some funny one-liners Andrew will have on the air that Mike thought
Mike
of,
is
that Mike said first. And Mike is just so humble that I've seen Mike. So he's so quick with his comedy. He's almost like a Tim Dillon, if
Yeah,
you meet
yeah,
him,
he
like
is.
the same type of attitude that like something will be going on politically and we'll be in the control room and Mike will just have like six funny lines about it, just talking. And I've seen guests go on Wilcow and repeat the same stuff Mike said without giving him credit. And I'm like, dude, you came up with that. Why is
Yeah.
she acting like that's her joke? And it would piss me off more than him. Because I'd be like, you deserve the credit. You thought of this, and that is a talent, man. It's what Greg Gutfeld does. It's all those guys, like to be able to make what's happening politically funny and to have a
Yeah,
good line
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
And to me, I always give credit. To me, if I would say Mike told me this, and then say the line. And a lot of people didn't give him credit, man. So
They
I
should've.
lived that. Yeah,
And he should have. But you can see Mike is he is. I don't. He does the humblest guy. He's just the nice. He is
yeah,
nice. You walk around. He's just the sweetest guy. But he's always responsive too. And that's one thing I loved about Mike is if I text him, he's like, "Hey, dude, yeah, what's going on? Hey, you want to come on the show?" No, I'm okay, dude. But he's one of those one guys in that genre. When I used to be in that arena, he was always responsive, and there were a lot
yeah,
that wouldn't. I don't want to say blow me off. They didn't. They would eventually get back to me. But Mike was boom, boom. What's up, Tano? What do you need?
yeah.
Hey man, I'm gonna come on the show and talk to this. All right, when do you want to come on tomorrow at 8? Shit, I thought I was waiting next week. Yeah, I'll come on tomorrow. And that was Mike, and that said a lot for his character. And you guys, I wish I could have saw you both guys work more because you are
Yeah.
completely different, and I would have liked
Yeah.
to have seen that dichotomy, that opposites attract thing in that little booth there. Oh my Lord, I would have loved to have seen that because actually, do you have a story where you and him get
It
into
was
it?
stupid stuff though. Like
Like
I
what?
do, but there none of it was that interesting. Like I
Okay.
remember one day I wanted to get something to eat after the show, and he was like, "Oh yeah, let me just knock out this email." And like an hour would go by, 2 hours go. I'm like, "Dude, are we going to get something to eat?" Yeah, yeah, I got it. Like, and it just stuff like that. Like, dude, you know, it was, and stuff where you're like, you got me sitting around here, like waiting for this. Like, what, are you going or not? Because I'm gonna get
I
something.
mean, I can
What, you know,
see
like
you,
that
but
type
I
of
can
stuff.
see you
Yeah,
because that's you,
yeah,
dude.
for
That is
sure.
fucking you. It's like, motherfucker, are we going? What's going
Yeah.
on, man? And Mike's like, we're going, we're going. Do you think, I don't think, do you think he even thought about the time? Because I don't think Mike's trying to do it to be a dick to you. Or do you think he was? You think I'm going to screw with the
I
internet?
don't know, but it's just when you're around someone all the time. I mean, think of all the divorces in this country, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's a totally different dichotomy. But like, or how many brothers don't talk to each other?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
and when they tell you why, you go over that. Like
Over
that's the
that. Yeah.
stupidest thing ever. Like,
Yeah.
and I never lose sight of that because like my dad has become. My dad used to be extremely moderate politically.
Well,
He has gone way off the deep end
he,
of super left wing, watches MSNBC all day long. But am I not going to talk to my dad?
no, of
My
course
dad
not.
would be there for me at any point in my life. I think his politics are ridiculous, you know, but like I think a lot of people lose sight of that, especially when people are like I can't talk to this family member because they didn't vote for this person and they're liberal or they're conservative. Like those people, even if they have a totally different belief system than you, like if for most people, unless you did something horrible and it's really bad,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you got locked up or something, like they'd probably be there for you to bail you out.
Yeah.
And none of these politicians you're fighting for would give a
No,
shit. So
I
I
forget.
think to like lose family members over stuff like that is so, and we see it all the time now. I can't talk to my brother. I can't talk like people need to find a way to because
Yeah.
we're at a really bad place. I think you know, in the extreme is what you're seeing with what happened with Charlie Kirk. But I do think it all starts with a lot of people being like, I can't associate with this person because their beliefs on this,
We just,
even though they love you and would be there for you, you know?
you gotta moderate what you watch. I told you this. I stopped. You know, the news used to pop up on my screen all the time. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I'm completely more right wing. You guys
Oh
know that
yeah.
than left. But it was Fox News. But you know, and then I started. It was a tie-in. I don't like to fly. I didn't like to be around people. I was getting aggravated more. I didn't want to go to the airport. I didn't want to get on a plane. And there is some, when you fly too much, you start to think you know everything about planes until Eric
Yeah, like,
Eric
or I was
Stahl
gonna say
made fun
Kirk
of me.
Bradley. Yeah.
Yeah, or Kirk made fun of me too. He's like, yeah, you such a, you what, every little bump's scaring you. Do you need, but as soon as I turned it off, a lot of that anxiety went away. It did. It was like, and I don't think people realize that if you're immersed in that, you're going to be anxiety filled all the time. You got to moderate like we used to. And I wish we had that moderate where the news only came on now at 5 o'clock. It wasn't
Yeah.
24/7 news cycle. There's a lot to say. And if I was doing my doctor, if I ever go get my PhD, I will do a dissertation on the relationship between anxiety and being watching news and being in the news 24/7 and how it relates to other things, fear of flying, you know, phobias.
Oh yeah.
I bet there is a tie-in because I can tell right now, and I'm gonna have to fly across the country 3 times in the next. I wouldn't have done that last year. I would never
Yeah.
have done that because I hate. It's like it's not a big. I mean, I still don't want to be away from home, but it's not that anxiety.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with me just I turn it off. It's not doesn't the first thing that pops up on my screen now is my VA health login. So if I need to check my veterans benefits, I look on that. And the other thing is a waterfall. That's what pops
Yeah.
up when I do my work. And I really do believe, and people are like, you're full of shit, Tom. No, I really believe that. If you would moderate the news that you watch, even more than porn, you guys that do watch porn all the time, if you moderate what you watch as far as the news, your anxiety levels will come
Yeah,
down.
that creates anxiety too, though. Since you
I know,
mentioned
I
it.
know.
I think all that stuff.
It was a
All
joke.
that
It was
stuff.
it was a
No,
joke.
I know, but I'm
don't
just
watch
saying.
porn either. Don't watch porn either.
No, but that stuff
Moderate
too.
that
But it puts
Yeah.
you in. It puts you in like a hypnotic state. It does. I mean, if you've done it, which but yeah. And at the end of the day, man, you can only control what you're doing. I know actually because my dad's in town right next year. If I go over to my parents' house, my dad is watching MSNBC right now. Truthfully, there's nothing I could do about that. I can't change his mind
No.
state on this stuff.
No.
And he'll always be like, "Well, you're probably over there watching Fox News." I'm like, "I'm really not."
No, no.
But I'm like, if Gutfeld's on, I'll watch that.
Gutfeld is freaking funny.
Gutfeld's great,
admit,
but
he is
yeah, that's the one
hilarious.
thing I'll turn on because I love Gutfeld's. But yeah, you just have to. I think a lot of people can't accept that this is how other people choose to live their life, and if they're close to you, you can't walk out on people that are important to you. And it's just a big. I think this whole idea of like I'm only going to associate with a group who thinks like me.
That's the
is
worst.
really bad for people.
Worst.
And we're like and like I said, I think to the extreme of that is where we see what happened to Charlie Kirk. I think that's the extreme of I'm not going to associate with people who they're the enemy and the people calling for war because of this. Like the people that take this to such an extreme, man, and the people who think because they watch social media that every left-wing person is celebrating what happened. Like that's not reality. That is not real. There are extremists who are assholes, and that will always happen.
And that's that's why I didn't jump in even on the social. It's like, hey, I'm not going to post it. I can't stand. Keep posting that anger. Keep posting this. Stop. No, stop, guys. That's not helping anything.
No, it's gonna make matters worse, especially the plastered killer's face on there, man. Which whoever's editing this video, because I haven't heard from Harold, but like, don't put the killer's face.
Don't do it.
I do think it leads to copycat shooting.
It does.
I think that's way more of a problem than the guns. Some people will go, "That's crazy." I don't think it's crazy.
We talked about that on the show. We are glamorizing it. We talked about that on one of the early shows.
Yeah, I remember.
And it really comes down to how fiction kind of imitates real life. It's the Joker syndrome, I call it. You are glamorizing these, and this is what people. This is their manifesto. Every killer has a freaking manifesto that they write because they want to be remembered as this horrific individual because that's what they think is cool. I don't know. And by continue to posting death and putting it does nothing but create. It glamorizes. It glamorizes murder. It glamorizes psychoticness. And you're right. If every and again, both sides. If every liberal out there was crazy, then you'd go outside and you'd see this craziness going on in your hometown. Do you? No, you probably don't. And if every right-wing guy wanted war to kill everything and just go and destroy it because all of us veterans are crazy and all those global war guys want to go kill it, then we'd be out doing it, guys. I promise you. And we're not because we don't want that. We don't want to see war. We don't want. If we did, we'd keep going over. We'd go in these places that have war 24/7, 365. So I agree with you there, but social media and the news don't help that. And
it's like a megaphone to the worst stuff going on.
Worst stuff going on. The clicks is you're going to click, and so how do you fix it? Well, they're not going to fix themselves because that makes them.
Of course not.
Yeah. You turn it off. You moderate. And that's what I always tell you. You don't have to not watch and just be completely in a hole because I was like that for a while too, and that doesn't work either. You just moderate, and that's why I did. I remember when we used to sit around at 5 o'clock. We would, my family, my dad would come back when he was home, or my mom would come back from teaching, and they would turn the local news on, and I'd sit there with them and watch it, and that was okay. There was nothing wrong with that, but we didn't watch the news all night. It was done, and we're out, and so you know what's going on, but you don't need to be over desensitized or oversensitized by mass horrific news that's all we see now, man. And that's horse shit. But like you said, your dad
actually, and I remember like when we had Chris Dutch-Moyer on the last time, and truthfully, I want to make this clear. Like, there's a ton of times guests say things that I don't agree with, but I'm not gonna get into like a counterpoint every single time that they do, because I'd rather the audience hear their point of view. They don't need to hear my point of view on everything. But like, I remember him saying, people are too caught up watching The Voice, or like what sports team is doing this. And to me, I actually think like, well, what's the opposite of that? Do you want people focused on politics 24/7? Like, I think that's completely unbalanced. I actually do get why people follow a sports team they're into or like to watch a stupid comedy or like to watch The Voice or some reality show or even if it's Real Housewives or something like yeah, it's important to have kind of a little bit of fun, mindless entertainment is actually why I like doing Ian
That's
Scott of Rocks. None of it is political.
yeah.
And it's an escape because everything is political. So I like to have an out and that's actually why my favorite show on radio on Sirius XM is Eddie Trunk. And like I know Eddie well enough that Eddie has his own political views, but he always says like I don't bring this to the show. I want the show to be rock talk
Yeah.
and that's it. And you're not going to hear my political views on anything. And when people try to get political, he shuts it down. When he had Ted Nugent on the show, he's like, I don't want to talk about all that. I just want to talk about your music. And I personally think we need more of that because the whole idea of entertainment all being politics, I think has led to like really bad
No, it does.
point in this country.
You have to have that escape. When we had DJ Dallas on, we talked about that. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, I agree.
DJ has his political views, but
Absolutely.
he does it. Sports is sport. He knows that it's an escape for, and he loves veterans. So, and when I know he knows, speaking with him, that he knows that that is an escape for us when we are in a bunch of horror. We want to watch football because it reminds us of being home and not the horrors that are going on around us. That's why it's so important for athletes to not be political. You can have your political views, but just don't put them on the field. Don't do the kneeling, the calling, because that destroys that escape that we're looking for to help us stay sane. And I think that's all in the country. That's everybody. That's why we still gravitate to sports. That's the way we still college football season is one of the greatest seasons in the world. I mean, everybody loves college football season because it is an escape and it is watching even the it doesn't matter if you like the team or not, just watching me like, man, reminiscing about growing up, times with your father or with your brother, going to the games or if you played. And even like last night that I spoke at the DH Pace conference in Kansas City. Well, they gave
Nice.
us tickets to the Kansas City Royals game. So we went to
Nice.
the Royals Mariners game. And
Which
that-
you
my-
rarely go to sporting
No,
events. How was it?
I'm already there. Oh, it was wonderful. I know.
Nice.
That's my son's first baseball game.
Oh,
And
wow. Wow.
yeah, walk up there. I mean, first Major League Base. We used to go to the
Yeah,
College
that's
World
cool, though.
Series all the time. when
Yeah,
we
but it's
lived
not
in
the
Omaha.
same.
It's not the same. But no, walk in there and it was, and
Yeah,
none
wait,
of them.
you know what I'm wondering because I'm thinking
Yeah.
of you. You can't carry, right?
No, I didn't care. You can't.
For you, that must have been like, holy shit. I know for
You-
you, that's like the number one thing on your mind.
You know what though? When these places you go to, a lot of these places, and that athletic events, and another thing too, neither team is in contention. They're neither the Mariners and the Royals are not they're not vying for the AL championships or any of their on their league division championships. So it's not really a packed crowd. It's a Wednesday night too, so it's not like
Yeah.
it's a.
But I
huge
just
crowd.
know for you, your general attitude, which is a lot of people, is if I can't carry, I don't want to go.
And sporting events though, and this is growing up around sporting events. My dad coached at Brigham Young, and I used to go to football games all the time, big college, and we'd go to pro games. I never really worried too much because there was so much security. There was so much outward security, and there's so much underlying security. Most sports teams take that extremely serious. But it's also for me, caring to me is it's like I don't want to say it's as bad as watching the news. It's not, but caring to me is like, man, I always got to be on. I don't want to be on. I want to be with my son watching an event. And if I'm caring, then I'm always, oh crap, it is. And that's okay for me. I'm okay. I understand that. I understand there's times for that with me. And when we're out and just in public, I am going to be on. I'm watching for threats. But when I go to a sporting event, I do have a little bit of a trust. I do have trust for the security, and I do have trust for the people that are there and the security you don't see. And luckily for me, I've been able to be behind the scenes with that, so I know there's ample security there, and it's everywhere, and I'm still on. I mean, I'm still looking, I'm still watching, and your biggest asset in any sort of event or any sort where you may think your life's in danger, your biggest asset is this. Your eyes and your brain is to get you out of that situation. The gun is there, worst case scenario. But yeah, for me at an event, especially last night, when I drove up and how well it was put together. I mean, the parking was outstanding. It was so seamless. I was like, man, this is the easiest event I've ever been to, except for the Nebraska Cornhusker games are pretty easy. But no, I didn't feel at all I didn't feel at all stressed at all. It was
That's
wonderful.
cool.
And we were up there, third base line, and
Nice.
he's in there. And they came up to visit me because I had to spend the night at the hotel up in KC because I just the schedule worked out. But he came swimming. But we went in there, and I forgot how cool professional arenas are, professional stadiums are, and it was freaking awesome, man. Watching Perez hit a home run first inning, bam, hit it,
Nice.
and then they have a guy that's a Pasquiano or Pascal, I forget the last name, but he's called the Squatch. So whenever he get a hit, there'd be a Sasquatch that would come out and watch. Just it's
Yeah.
not just the game, but the entertainment that comes with professional sports,
Yeah.
the other stuff in between innings, putting guys in hot dog suits and have them run around the infield and just
And if it's
watch.
any, I think all MLB teams they honor a veteran every game,
And
right?
they
Did they
did,
do
yeah,
it for
they
the
did. They
Mets?
did. No,
Yeah.
they did fifth inning, and they honored. It was a major. She was a helicopter pilot, I believe a UH-60 pilot. It was cool. No, they do. And KC is extremely veteran supportive. The state of Missouri and Kansas are, but yeah, it was awesome, dude. It was
Yeah.
awesome, and just I had to get there. We had to have I'm not leaving without buying a hot dog. I'm coming to a baseball game. I'm getting a hot dog, and so I bought a hot dog, lemonade. My son just lemonade. My wife was there, and just she loves pretzel. Just the normal baseball food. The only thing I
Yeah.
didn't have was a beer because alcohol doesn't agree with me too well anymore. I would have had a beer, so
Yeah.
iced tea. But it was cool. And then we had to leave a little bit early because we had to drive all the way back home to Fort Scott. But I tell you what, yeah, it was. I think the biggest thing too, though, was because it was so sparse. The crowd, it wasn't a huge crowd. That also made it less anxiety for me because we had seats and I had extra seats on both sides, so I wasn't squished in. Like sometimes you get in
Yeah.
the,
Oh yeah.
but
I've
yeah,
Mets right
yeah,
now. It's like that because they're
because they're in it. They're in
they got Juan
contention.
Soto. They're sort of in it.
But I would any sporting events if when I go, it's not necessarily, and I remember this now, and I still, it's not to see the teams. I don't want to see contention. I just want to go for the atmosphere, and I want to go for
Yeah.
the relaxing atmosphere. So, kudos to the Kansas City Royals and Kauffman Stadium and their staff because it was unbelievable. It was perfect. It couldn't have been. The food was quick. I mean, it was literally, and I don't have a lot of perfect nights, but it was literally a perfect night to be there. The,
Nice.
the only thing that would have made it better is if my son could have come, my oldest or my daughter. But oldest is at college, and my daughter, she has a boyfriend, which is another reason why we had to get back to Fort Scott. Fort
Yeah.
Scott. But yeah, but it was a good experience and one of the best speaking events I've been to as far as so kudos to DH Pace out there for bringing me and let me speak to their group and then treating my family to a game. That was a benefit, man. That was awesome. Sorry, I went down a rabbit hole
Nice.
there, man. Sorry, it was
No,
good.
it's
It
all
was good
good.
night.
I
Good night.
mean, I think we've covered it all, man. I
Yeah.
know you want to spend some time with your son, so I don't want to go super
Got
long.
soccer practice
Um,
here in a bit. Got 15 minutes.
yeah, so you might as well go for it. And yeah, to the audience, we'll do another show next week, and then you could
Q&A.
revisit all the old ones. Yeah, I would say shoot over your questions, but by the time this is up, we'll have already recorded next
That's
week.
right.
So that's why I
Sorry.
put something up on social media prematurely. Unfortunately, I know a lot of you guys who listen aren't on social media, so you probably would have liked to have asked something, but it's just too late at this point. But no, anyone that this show impacted positively, we greatly appreciate
And
it.
let's
Anyone who kept the show going, we greatly
let's
appreciate.
remember, let's say and say because we just found out today
Yeah,
to Boone Cutler out there, I know God's going to let you into heaven, brother. You're going to be up there. You're going to be at peace now. And, God bless you, brother. And to his family and those close friends of his, we wish you nothing but peace as well. And help through this time. Because, Boone was a social media guy. Boone was into,
yeah, and an
I was,
author.
and a great author. No, and he was an outspoken individual as far as alternative methods to help veterans overcome post-traumatic stress. And yeah, I hadn't talked to Boone in quite a few years, so I'm not going to pretend like we were best friends or anything, but we were friends. And he was a great guy. Whenever we hung out, he would make me laugh. He was funny, so God bless you, bro. God bless your family, but God bless you up in heaven. And like I said, I wish you nothing but peace now, because I know there were times down here you couldn't find it. So I hope you just find peace 100% of the time up there in heaven, and you look down on us and you remember us, bud. So Boone Cutler,
Yeah.
God bless you, man. All the way, bud.
Absolutely. And yeah, but believe it or not, he for the audience, he was going to be a guest at one time on the show. He was booked
Yeah, I
and
looked.
he wanted to come in studio in New York and it fell through. And I said, "Well, we'll just have you on via Zoom." Because I did offer it and he was like, "No, I want to do it in studio. I really
Yeah,
want to." And I was like, "All right, cool, man. The next time you're here, let's have you in studio at the Team House studio." And it just never happened. But yeah, my conversation with him really seemed like a great guy who
yeah,
truly cared about veterans. I think that's like what he was known for, man, caring
yeah,
for fellow
yep,
veterans.
yep.
And you know, if we're on the topic before we go here, of course, rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. I
Yeah.
mean, it's completely devastating what happened and horrible. And the I do think the country is gonna have a major loss, man, because he was a guy, actually a lot of what we were talking about, who did want to have conversations
Yeah.
and people said it on social media and stuff. It is true. The guy who killed him, if he would have been civil, he's the type of guy Charlie probably would have liked to have had just a spirited
Just
debate
gone.
with. That was what he was about. Even if you thought he was the worst person, he wanted to sit down with you and have a debate about it. He didn't want to hurt anybody, and it's awful. It's
It
awful what
is. It
happened.
is. It is, man. I don't give a shit. Politics be damned. You don't. Nothing deserves assassination. Nothing. I don't give a shit how far left or right you think you are. Come on, guys, knock that shit off. That's
Especially a
ridiculous.
guy with no power in terms of like he wasn't the head of a country.
No,
He was a guy who wanted to debate other people,
and he was
and
good
he
at it. There's a
was
talent to
excellent
that.
at it. Yeah,
There's a
and I
talent to
saw
that.
him get better at it because I saw him in the early days, and he became one of the best at it. And truthfully, stuff that people don't know him for, like he was a huge advocate for men's mental health, a lot of different things. He was more than just politics. He was very. It's you know what's crazy because we mentioned earlier. It's not talked about enough because people are embarrassed by it. And I know we'll wrap up here, but like, you know, when I had Evan Seinfeld on the show, we spoke about it. And I think guys were comfortable with themselves to talk about it when we had the Men's Alliance guy on. You could find it. There's interviews and stuff where Charlie Kirk said, yeah, I got like really into pornography at one time
Yeah,
and it completely was destroying my life and it's destroying men's lives. And I think it's why a lot of men are taking their life. And he was open, and I think it takes a lot of courage to be open about that stuff. So
it's true.
he was not all politics. He was about
No.
mental health. He was very much about Christianity,
Oh yeah.
very much about family and putting family first. I think he would always say family. What was it? Because he
Fa
said family, God, and country in that order, or God, family, and country in that order. You know, I've heard him say stuff. So he was more that whether I don't care where you land politically, like there was a lot of different things. He was a multifaceted guy, especially for such a young guy. So yeah,
And it was too soon. And I didn't follow him a ton. I know Ian, we didn't follow everything he did, but
I would watch stuff every now and again though that
and
would be on my radar.
I didn't. I didn't. But that being said, no one deserves to be assassinated. And like no one, I don't give a shit who you are. You don't. And sitting there and having a conversation at a college is that's the most cowardice act you could do. And for to think that way and be you are brainwashed. You're mentally something's wrong to be able to think this is something I need to do. Come on, guys. You just need to wake up. I don't understand. I can't fathom my head. And that's somebody that's what I did. I mean, in war, that's what, but I still just can't fathom the reason for that. Not here, not in the US. No, not, we're not at war. And there's nobody trying to enslave anyone. It's not, guys. And so just get your heads right. Turn shit off every once in a while, get some fresh air, get off your computer, get off Discord or whatever the hell that you do, and just start and associate with other people. Get out of
Yeah,
your bubbles. Get out of your bubbles. Go catch a game. Go catch a baseball
I
game,
agree with that. Yeah,
and you'll see.
and you know what? The last thing I actually will say about that, I know it's gonna wrapping up here,
I
but
know,
like
I know. Shit.
regardless of what happened, I think I could say like Charlie Kirk still would have done that. I think that was like his mission in life, and
Yeah,
I think like if he knew his life would be cut short doing what he was doing, he still would do it. I think it was that important to him.
that was his belief, and that's
Yeah.
good to have those convictions to help people. And there's few people that are like that. And yeah, I agree with you. Even though I didn't follow his career, I didn't know him personally at all. I believe that too. I agree with you. So, rest in peace, and to his wife, and especially his kids that
Yeah, young
you,
kids.
you scumbag, just orphaned, you son of a bitch. That's the worst thing in the world right there. Because I've seen kids killed.
Yeah.
That in itself, but is terrible. But guys, to his kids, I just hope they hear things like what we're saying and remember their father as being he is a hero. I'm maybe not a battlefield hero, but he is a hero in his own right because he had conviction and he did it properly.
I mean, he
I
sort of is a battlefield hero, though. It's like
well,
he got shot for his beliefs and killed for his
and
beliefs.
that makes him I hope you don't make him a martyr. It makes him somebody who is, in my opinion, well, he was doing the right thing. He was doing.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done it. I can't speak like him. I get too angry. I don't know how guys do that. I don't know how they. You have
He
to
was
have
the happy warrior, as
you
I've
have
heard
to have a
people
special
say.
talent to do that. You have to have a special talent to stay calm when you want to go put your hands on somebody, and that is a talent. It is because not a lot of people have that. So again, I hope his kids and his wife. I just wish him nothing but the ability to overcome this eventually, and hopefully they don't lose faith in God. And
Yeah.
that's easy to do, and when you lose people close to you. So anyway, yeah, we rambled again, but
Yeah,
God
it's all
bless
good.
you.
But
Yeah.
yeah, thanks, guys. One more show left. Greatly appreciate the
Yep.
support over these 300 plus episodes for 6 years. Amazing.
That's all for this episode of Battleline Podcast. But we're always posting new content on social media. Follow us on Instagram at Battleline Podcast and on Twitter at Battleline Pod. That's an order. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes up every Tuesday. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast platform of choice. Believe in yourself. Face all challenges head on. And as always, never quit.